Now after that, you know now what is the statics, what is the dynamics, right? Now we will try to learn some of the basic concepts such as the rigid body and deformable body. Now these concepts are important as far as the statics is considered. Okay. Now we are going to learn the rigid body, means whatever the objects we are going to consider in our assumption, all that bodies will be the rigid body. Now what is the rigid body? Rigid body means a stiff body. Stiff body means a fixed body in the normal language. A specific quantity of matter of which the parts are fixed in position relation with each other. That type of body is called as the rigid body, means a fixed body. Your table, your wood material is a rigid body. Okay. The name itself has its meaning. Rigid. Rigid means stiff. Okay. So that bodies we consider in our assumptions. In our numericals also, mostly we consider the rigid bodies. In our mechanics, numericals, then derivations. Okay. We consider the rigid bodies. Remember this. Okay. Now, on that rigid bodies, the force is acted upon. Now, yesterday also in our lecture, we have seen what is the force. Okay. But that force is been invented by the Newton, and Newton has proposed the three laws. Yesterday I have told you the three laws. First law is known as the law of inertia. Newton has given. Without studying the force, you cannot study the mechanics. Okay, you must study the Newton's three laws. First law is law of inertia. Law of inertia is the first law. This is the law of inertia. Then second law. In second law, we got the F is equal to ma. Force is equal to mass into acceleration. That we got into the second law. And in third law, we get the to every action there is equal and opposite reaction. If we throw a ball on the ground, then it will bounce back, right? So to every action there is equal and opposite reaction. What is the law of inertia? Yesterday also I have told you that a body continues in its state of rest or in motion unless it is acted upon by an external unbalanced force. It is also known as the law of inertia. Okay, which is the Newton's first law of motion. You might have studied it in your 11th and 12th physics. Now, Newton's second law, that is the rate of change of momentum, is nothing but the summation of all forces acting on the body. So this is another form. D'Alembert's principle is one of the form, that summation of F minus ma is equal to 0, right? That we are going to learn in our unit number 4. Okay, in the kinetics, right? But initially, your force is equal to product of mass and acceleration is derived from the Newton's second law. How? You know what is the momentum? Momentum is equal to mass into velocity, right? Now, what will be the rate of change of momentum? Rate of change of momentum means final momentum minus initial momentum. Final momentum minus initial momentum. This will be the rate of change of momentum. Final momentum minus initial momentum divided by time, because it is the rate of change of momentum, which is equal to the force. Okay, this has been proposed. Now, final momentum means m2 v2 means m v2 divided by t. T, that is nothing but t2. Okay, that is the final momentum, means second time. That is the your last time. Then again, initial momentum. Initial momentum is equal to m v1 divided by t1. Okay. Now, what does it will give you? M is common because mass will not change. Mass will remain constant for that body, right? So we can take it common, right? Mass multiplied by. Now rate of change of velocity is acceleration. You can get it that velocity final minus velocity initial divided by time final minus time initial means the difference of time. Means what? That difference of velocity divided by difference of time, that is the dv by dt, and dv by dt means nothing but your acceleration, right? So therefore your F will be equal to ma. F will be equal to ma, which is nothing but mass into acceleration, which has been derived from the Newton's second law of motion. So basically you might have studied it in your physics, but you should know it, because without studying the physics you cannot go with the mechanics, and your whole engineering is based on the mechanics. Means the core engineering branches are based on the mechanics subject, and your mechanics subject is based on the physics subject. Okay, so your physics basics must be strong so that you can study the mechanics well. So remember this. Okay, so this is the outcome of the Newton's second law of motion, which is equal to force is equal to mass into acceleration. And again, from that second law, you can derive the D'Alembert's principle. Okay, that is included in your further syllabus, but here I will tell you what is the D'Alembert's principle. That is summation of F minus summation of m into A is equal to 0. This is nothing but the D'Alembert's principle. Now, this m into A, you can shift it to LHS only, and you can have the summation. Means summation of all forces and the summation of all product of mass and acceleration will be equal to 0. Means on stable body, the summation of all external forces is 0. This is nothing but the principle of equilibrium. Means you can understand that all these things are correlated with each other. Newton's second law is related with F is equal to ma. F is equal to ma is related with the D'Alembert's principle. D'Alembert's principle is related with the law of equilibrium, right? Means all these things are related to each other. And Newton's third law is also related with Newton's second law, that to every action there is equal and opposite reaction unless there is a loss of energy. Okay, and that law of energy and law of your inertia, that is the first law, is again related with the law of conservation of momentum, right? Means all these things are correlated with each other. You can understand all these things if you study this all concept in detail. Okay, now I have given you all these three laws, Newton's three laws I have given you. You might have noted it down. Okay, now after that we will move towards the Newton's second law again, which is the force, right? So force is most important for us, because in whole mechanics we are going to study the force and its effect. Why we are going to study the mechanics, that thing also I have explained you yesterday. Okay, you know now force is equal to mass into acceleration. But what is the definition of exact force? So force is defined as an external energy which changes or tends to change the state of body, either in state of rest or in motion. So this is the technical definition of force. Now you got the technical definition of force, that force is defined as external energy which changes or tends to change the state of rest or in motion, state of rest or the motion state of the body. This is the technical definition of force. Now, what are the characteristics of force? You should also know the characteristics of force. So one by one, I will tell you that characteristics of force. First one is the magnitude. First characteristics is magnitude. Second characteristic of force is the direction. Second characteristic is direction. Third characteristic is nature of force. Nature of force means what? Either it is in pull condition or it is in push condition. That I will explain you by giving you the diagram, because without diagram you will not understand it. And fourth is the point of application. Point of application of the force. Point of apply or point of application. Now I will draw one diagram here so that you will understand it. Now see here, this type of force is the pull force. You are pulling the object at the two ends. So this is the pull force. Now again, I will draw one more diagram. Now, how is this force? This force is push force. You are pushing the object, right? So you understood the difference between pull and push. The first one is your pull and second one is push. This is pull and this is push. So this is the nature of force. Okay, you got it? The nature of force. This one is the nature of force. Third one. Now direction. Second one. Direction means the angle. Now at which angle the force is acting. Now suppose that you want to calculate the angle, so that's why you should keep one horizontal line, and after getting the horizontal line you can measure the angle at which it is acting. Now suppose that this angle is your 45 degree. Now this is the your direction, means it is acting at the 45 degree. If this angle is your 50 degree, now this is again the angle of force, that is the 50 degree. Okay, so you got it, that this one is nothing but your, this angle is nothing but the direction. Okay, now next one is the your magnitude, which is the first one. Okay, now magnitude means suppose that having a magnitude of 50 Newton, force must have the magnitude, right? At which magnitude you are applied it. So 50 Newton will be the magnitude. Here 100 Newton will be the magnitude. Okay, so this is nothing but your magnitude of the force, which is the first one, first characteristic. Okay, now the fourth characteristic is the point of application of force. Now at which point you are applying it. Okay, so I will point it out here. This point, at this point you are applying the force. So this is the point of application, which is the fourth one. Okay, now you got all the characteristics here. Okay, first one is the magnitude, which is the 50 Newton is shown here. Second one is the direction. The direction is 45 degree. Here the direction is 50 degree. That direction is also shown, that 45 degree, at 45 degree to the horizontal, at 50 degree to the horizontal. This is the direction of force. Third one is the nature of force. Either it is pull or push, right? Whether you are pulling the object or whether you are pushing the object. This is the nature of force. And fourth one is the point of apply, means point of application, at which point you are going to apply that force, right? So you understand the four characteristics of the force. Okay, so this is also the again important point that you must remember. Okay, now after that we will see at the next one, we will see the force system. Okay, so force system is important for us. We have studied now force, we studied the definition of force, we studied the characteristics of force. So also we want to study the force system. Force system. in force system, we will see the classification of that force system. Then and then only we will understand it. Okay. So force system can be divided as majorly it will be subdivided into the two categories. First one is the coplanar. First one is the coplanar, and second one is the non-coplanar. Now I will explain you what is this coplanar and non-coplanar. Now coplanar means which are in the same plane, means the forces are acting in the same plane. Now these forces are there, F1, F2. These are in the same plane. Okay. Now what is the non-coplanar? Non-coplanar means which are not in one plane. This is the one first plane, this one is the second plane. Okay, non-coplanar. So these are in the different planes. Plane means a horizontal position. Okay, so this is the non-coplanar forces which are in different planes. This is in the some different plane and this one is some different plane. But these two planes are not on the same horizon. Remember this thing. Diagrammatically, I have drawn it here, but these two planes differ in their horizons. So they are at the different elevation. Remember this thing. Okay, we cannot show the three-dimensional here. So that's why I have shown like this. Okay, we cannot show it three-dimensional, but still I will try to draw it in a three-dimensional mode. Okay, so you can draw it like this. Now, this one is your first force, this one is second force, and this one is the third force. Now, this is your non-coplanar. Okay, so this one is your first, this one is second force, and this one is third force. Now you will understand the non-coplanar means the forces are not existing in the same plane. So therefore it is called as the non-coplanar. So you understood the difference between coplanar and non-coplanar. Okay. Now coplanar, again it is subdivided into the another categories such as the concurrent, parallel and non-concurrent. Okay. Again it will be subdivided into three categories: 1, 2 and 3. Three categories. Okay. So the first one is your concurrent. Second one is parallel. And third one is non-concurrent. Okay. And the same categories will also be for non-coplanar. Okay. Now parallel force system again gets subdivided into the these two subcategories, which is the first one your like forces and next one is the unlike forces. Okay, now I will explain you one by one. Okay, so first of all, understand the concurrent. Concurrent means which are passing through the same point. This is known as the concurrent. Okay, which are passing through the same point. Same point means now these three forces are coming at the same point. So that's why we can call it as a concurrent force system. Now parallel force system. Parallel means what? This force is parallel to this force. Right? Now, if these are in same direction, then this will be like forces. And if these two forces are in opposite direction, then we called it as a unlike parallel force system. Okay, like means in the same direction, unlike means in the opposite direction but parallel to each other. And what is meant by the non-concurrent? Non-concurrent means which are not passing through the one point. So this is the non-concurrent force system. Okay, and if all these three force system are not in your, what we can say, same plane, then we call it as a non-coplanar. Okay, so you might have understood the classification of force system. Diagrammatically, I have explained in front of you that what is the concurrent. Concurrent means passing through the same plane. Parallel means like or unlike. Okay, and non-concurrent means not passing through the same point. Okay, so this is the basic classification of your force system. So I hope that you have understood the today's lecture very well. Okay, and we are short of time now, so I will take your attendance now. Okay, I have taken the attendance. 25 students are present today, and it is requested to all of you that you keep your notes ready. Means whatever I am writing here on the shared screen, you write it in your notebook. You prepare your own notes, and I will also send you the PDF. Okay, so I have saved all this means whatever today we have covered, that I am going to save this. I have saved all the our screens now. All 4 screens I have saved, and I will prepare the PDF of this screens that today we have covered, and I will prepare the PDF of all these 4 screens, and I will share to your WhatsApp group, so that on daily basis you will come to know that which topics we have covered, and you can also get the revision of all these topics. Okay, and in a simple manner we are covering all these topics. Graphically we are covering this topic so that you can understand it easily, right? There are many books available, but I will suggest you the Bhavikatti book, which is famous, and you can have that book in our library also. So you can issue that book. You come to campus, visit campus, and issue that book from the library. That will be very much helpful for you to understand this vast subject. The subject is very vast, so you should understand the concepts of the mechanics. If you understand the concept, then you can solve the numericals very easily. Okay, but understanding the concept is very much important. In our next lecture, we are going to study the resolution of force system. Means resolution of forces. How a single force can be resolved, and how an n number of forces can be resolved, and what is the resultant. So this is a homework for you, that if you have the book of mechanics, then you study what is the resultant, what is the force system, and how the resolution of force or resolution of forces takes place. Okay, so this is an homework for you. Okay, so we will end our lecture here.